What if we tell you that the 7 wonders of the world today are far less enchanting than the 7 wonders of the ancient world? Art and architecture of the ancient world are testaments of invention, imagination, and capabilities of those living in that era. On the contrary, the disappearance of those from the face of the earth also reminds us of humanity's thirst for power and destruction. Did you know the first list of 7 wonders of the world has been described by various authors in their guidebooks of Hellenic tourists and in poems of famous poets of that time? These classically antique and remarkable constructions can be first found in their writings. In 225 BC, explorer Philo of Byzantium described these 7 wonders in his book. They were named themata in the Greek language. It translates to things to be seen. In common English, it means must-see things in a lifetime. Many other writers who wrote on the 7 wonders include the father of history, Herodotus, Callimachus of Cyrene, and Antipater of Sidon. So let us begin our visual journey to the unbelievable 7 wonders of the ancient world. You might have heard the phrase hanging gardens many times. Yes, they do exist, the Babylonian hanging gardens. It is believed that the Babylonian king built these gardens at the bank of the Euphrates River. According to geography, present day it is Iraq. It was built by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II in 600 BC. These gardens were built 75 feet high on a huge square brick terrace. This structure of the terrace itself was an architectural monument laid out in steps like a theatre. Queen Amethyst belonged to Media, present-day Iran. She lived in a very beautiful place filled with greenery. To ease her homesickness, the king built these towering gardens. Based on the writer's description of these gardens, it was very soothing to walk under these beautiful hanging gardens resting on tall columns. As it was thickly populated with lots of beautiful plants and trees, it was providing a cool breeze amid the desert. Greek and Roman writers have painted vivid, imaginative descriptions of these luxurious hanging gardens of Babylon. Lush vegetation cascading down the terrace seemed like waterfalls rolling down from this 70-foot high garden. Not only that, the king decorated it with exotic plants, herbs and flowers. It was so scenic that it dazzled the eyes. Fragrances were felt far away in the surrounding areas from this towering botanical oasis. This monument was not only known for vegetation, but also for its architecture. It was filled with artistic statues and engraved tall stone columns. Modern historians believe that to keep a garden flourishing at such heights, King Nebuchadnezzar might have developed such an irrigation system consisting of pumps, water wheels, or cisterns that would carry water many feet high to the garden. There are contradictions amongst the historians in the existence of these hanging gardens of Babylon. Many other gardens have been mentioned in both Greek and Roman literature, but only a few historians have mentioned them. Secondly, there are no mentions of these gardens in the Babylonian cuneiform inscriptions. Therefore, many modern scholars doubt the existence of these gardens. They presume it to be a part of a widely believed fictional tale. According to Dr. Stephanie Daly, she has found evidence of the existence of these legendary hanging gardens of Babylon. Daly emphasizes that they were never built there in the first place, and that it is the reason historians have been unsuccessful in finding traces of the hanging gardens of Babylon. She explains that the reason for this is the conquer of Assyrian in 689 BC. After the takeover, they renamed Nineveh as the New Babylon. If what Daly says is believed, then the hanging gardens of Babylon should truly be the hanging gardens of Nineveh. Daly has described everything about these gardens in her book. The Statue of Zeus in Olympia is another such ancient wonder that won the heart of people in ancient times. If you know about Greek mythology, Zeus is believed to be the king of all gods. An Athenian sculptor named Phidias crafted this huge statue. It was placed in the Temple of Zeus at Olympia, which is the ancient site of the Olympics. This was around 463 BC. Imagine the charismatic view of the god of thunder sitting bare-chested on a throne made of wood. Both armrests of his throne have engraved sphinxes. Sphinxes are mythical creatures in Greek mythology. The upper body of these sphinxes was of a woman, and the rest of the body was of a lion. It also had big wings on its body. This statue was made of gold and ivory. Due to this, the statue of Zeus looked so graceful. It was around 40 feet tall. The head of the statue touched the top of the temple. This giant and astonishing Zeus statue charmed the city of Olympia for 800 years. The temple was closed at the end of the 4th century. The Roman emperors were persuaded by the Christian priests to do so due to religious disbelief. The emperor shifted the statue to another temple in Constantinople. In 462 AD, it got destroyed in an unexpected incident of a huge fire. Greeks had great architectural skills. Another such unbelievable piece of architecture was the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. It is believed that there were many temples in Ephesus apart from the Temple of Artemis. Most of these temples were destroyed and then restored. All these temples were located in Ephesus. It was a port city located on the west of Greece. Currently, it falls in Turkey. The Temple of Olympus and the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus were the only biggest structures built during 550 BC and 350 BC. This temple went through many reconstructions. The original temple was designed by the Cretan architect Ctesiphron and his son Metagnes. Not only that, it was decorated by some of the famous artists of the ancient world. Unfortunately, the building was burnt by fire and destroyed in 356 BC. According to many historians, the famous warrior Alexander is believed to be born on the same night. The destruction of this temple was human. A person, Herostratus, burned this giant architectural structure just for getting fame. The government sentenced him to death and even banned people from taking his name. The construction of the new Temple of Artemis began after 6 years. In the new construction, they surrounded the temple with marble steps leading to a long terrace that was about 400 feet. The structure stood on 127 marble columns, which were 60 foot tall. A statue of the Greek goddess of the hunt, Artemis, was also placed in the temple. There are no details about the roof of this temple. It might have been open on top or covered with some other wooden material. In the 3rd century AD, archaeologists found the remains of this temple in the Cesta River in 1860. Most of these ancient architectural sites were in the nearby region. Another masterpiece was the Mausoleum at Helicarnassus. It was located in modern-day southeast Turkey. It was a tomb of King Mausolus, husband of Artemisia, who was the Queen of Carnia. To pay tribute to her husband after his death, she ordered this to be built in the 4th century BC. According to the historians, she loved him intensely and was very sorrowful. It is believed that she drank the ashes of Mausolus, mixing them with water. This structure was 135 feet high and entirely made of white marble. The building projected a mixture of Lycian, Greek, and Egyptian architectural styles. The base was made up of steps up to the height of 60 feet. The middle layer had 36 classic columns with a triangular roof like a pyramid. In the 3rd layer, the tomb of Mausolus was built. Above the structure, there was a 20-foot chariot that was itself a great artistic work by the then famous sculptors. The historic site was destroyed by natural causes. During the 1400s, an earthquake destroyed it massively, and later, the remains were used to barricade the borders of a castle. In the mid-1800s, some pieces of Mausoleum's castle were extracted from the Helicarnassus site. You can find these pieces in London's British Museum. Another masterpiece of the 7 wonders of the ancient world was the Colossus of Rhodes. In the 3rd century, Rhodians started building the Colossus of Rhodes. It was a huge bronze statue of Helios, the sun god. Built in the 4th century, Rhodians were under the Macedonian siege. After this siege, the Rhodians collected the tools and equipment left by the Macedonians. They sold them and gathered money to pay for the Colossus. Chares, a famous sculptor at the time, designed this statue. The statue was built 100 feet tall, which is one of the tallest in the ancient world. At the end of the 3rd century BC, this enormous statue was completed. For 60 years it stood with pride and was later toppled by an earthquake. Later on, When Arabs invaded and took over Rhodes, they dismantled and sold the remains left behind after the earthquake. For this reason, archaeologists don't know its exact location and how it looked. For the history writers, the information about the statue was depicted. It is believed that it was a statue of Helios standing naked, holding a torch and a spear in each hand. Moreover, it is presumed that the statue stood as a gate on the harbour. It is believed that the statue stood with legs apart, forming a gate. But many scholars disagree with this and say the statue stood with both legs together to balance its weight. Next is the Lighthouse of Alexandria in Egypt. This lighthouse was built on the small island of Pharos. Pharos is located outside Alexandria. This huge structure was designed and built by a Greek architect named Sostratos. This immense lighthouse was completed in the 3rd century BC. It was helpful to sailors in guiding the routes while traveling through the Nile River. During Ptolemy's rule, it was one of the busiest harbors of that time. Long trades mostly were carried out through ships by this route. Engravings of this lighthouse have been found by archaeologists on ancient coins. From this, it was known that it was a 3-storied structure. The bottom level was square, the middle section was octagonal, whereas the top was cylindrical. On the top of it stood a 16-foot statue of a warrior believed to be Alexander the Great. There is confusion about the height of the lighthouse. Some historians say it was 200 and some above 400 feet. It ranges from 200 to 600 feet. The destruction of the lighthouse was due to natural causes. Between the 10th and 14th centuries, multiple earthquakes destroyed this structure. Archaeologists have found the remains of this gigantic lighthouse in the Nile River. Ultimately, all of these wonders vanished except one. Some were destroyed by human hands, and others by natural forces. The one that still exists is the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. The Great Pyramid is located in the city of Giza. This city is located on the bank of the Nile River. The huge triangular pyramid is the only wonder of the ancient world that remains in the present day. There are in all 3 pyramids in this area: Khufu, Cheops, Khafra, Chephren, and Menkaure, Mesmerizing. They are believed to be built between 2700 BC and 2500 BC. They were tombs of the royal family. The Great Pyramid, or the Pyramid of Khufu, is the largest and most impressive. It covers an area of about 52,000 square meters. It is believed to be built with more than 2 million stone blocks, each weighing 25 to 30 tons. The Great Pyramid has remained the tallest structure in history for more than 4,000 years. Just imagine how profound those people might be who created these pyramids symmetrically in those days. Think about the knowledge and architecture of those Egyptians who built these pyramids. In today's world, Egyptians are known for their architectural works. According to scientists, the Egyptians might have used log rollers and sleds for the movement of these huge stones to place them at great heights. It is believed that the sloped walls were built to mimic the rays of Ra, the sun god. These steps were filled with limestone. The interior was also magnificent. It included narrow corridors and hidden chambers. It is believed to prevent these mummies from the grave robbers. In recent times, many modern archaeologists have researched these pyramids and were able to find great treasures. Yet, most archaeologists believe that the pyramids were looted initially within 250 years of completion. According to the estimates of archaeologists, the pyramid was about 481 feet tall. It remained the world's tallest man-made structure for thousands of years until 1300 AD. In 1300 AD, England's Lincoln Cathedral crossed this limit and became the tallest one. Currently, the pyramid is about 455 feet tall. The decrease is due to the erosion that has occurred in all these years. So these were the magnificent, artistic, and unbelievable 7 wonders of the ancient world. Even though they don't exist now except one, all 7 continue to inspire creatively in today's architecture. Hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to share it with your friends who would love to know about these unbelievable wonders. Hit the subscribe button for your weekly dose of informative fun and ring the bell icon to never miss a video from us.